They're buggy, they're nerdy, they're talking six legs, buzzing on the airwaves with their field note pegs. From beetles to bees, they just can't get enough. Geeking out on bugs, yeah, the nerdy stuff. Not for fame, not for clout, just because they care. It's the Bugcast, boys and girls, science in the air.
Hey, all you nerdy folks out there in the world. Welcome to the BCE podcast, where there's no ifs, ands, or bugs about it. I'm your host, Adam Holt. We've got your co-host over here, Shell Hartzer. And we have a special guest in the house, Ted Snyder. So without further ado, we're going to get this thing rolling. So Ted, give us that nutshell version of who you are, where you came from. You're everything, everywhere, all at once, I'm assuming.
And do that in the next 30 seconds.
I'm supposed to summarize 30 plus years of my career in 30 seconds. That means I have 1 second per year, and how many seconds have I already used up at this point?
We'll give you a little bit more time than that. Geez. It's okay.
Okay. Well, I'm obviously a board certified entomologist. That's why I'm here. But I've done a whole lot of different things throughout my career. I started off as I still have it. It's in my drawer over there. I started off as a pesticide applicator. I have my pesticide applicator license still, my very first one. It doesn't have the issue year, sadly. Aww. It just has the expiration year.
All right.
But I'm pretty sure it was 1992. Which definitely dates you. So, you know, I've worked as a technician for a while. I was the technical director for Batzner Pest Management up here in Wisconsin for about 10 years. That was quite the ride. We built the company from about 5 million to about 10 million during that time. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Then when the MPMA had the big, after the earthquake in Haiti, when the MPMA had their big response down there, I was part of the team that went there, and I really remarked to see a bunch of U.S. military folks down there helping out, and that got me thinking back to grad school when I'd met some military entomologists, and I was just like, you know, I wonder if the next thing in my career should be becoming a military entomologist. Contacted my local medical recruiter. I was like, right at the borderline of being too old to be commissioned. And so I signed the paperwork, and I got commissioned as a military entomologist. Flew on over to Camp Zama in Japan, which is right outside Tokyo. Spent a few years there as a public health entomologist. Traveled all around Asia. Got to Diego Garcia, which is a place you cannot go to as a tourist, let's say, and did entomology throughout Asia, which was fantastic. And I got out and stayed in as a reservist, but I started a consulting company, was a consultant like you two for a few years, and then yes, I can appreciate that. It wasn't really in it for me, though. So I bounced around some, and thinking about what to do, I decided I would continue my career as an educator, but instead of being just an adult educator, I decided to move down one grade level, so to speak, into high school. So I became a high school science teacher, and I'm
so sorry. Just kidding.
Oh, geez, it has been so fantastic.
Adam, this is perfect. You just came from, was it high school that you came from, or was it middle school?
I was doing middle school here in Hawaii, and Ted, it was not the same experience.
Oh, I mean, middle schoolers, the tweens. Oh my gosh, it takes a special person to deal with middle schoolers.
I've got grayer hair because of it already.
See, my kids, we go out and we collect ticks. I have kids who tell me they love ticks. One of the classes the kids loved the most was my rodent class. I had these two girls who just absolutely loved my rodent class, and in fact, when I moved from that school to another school, they gave me a goodbye note in which they drew rodents on it because they loved it so much.
I love it.
Yes. So I'm totally doing the whole extension mission, but only within the high school setting, which I really love because as opposed to trying to get an audience, trying to get people to come to events, and trying to educate people who may or may not be interested in learning about public health and entomology and rodents and that sort of thing, pest management. I have an audience of students, and they're interested to learn, especially once you start taking them out and showing them how cool these things are. And I
You're
just think
molding
to
the
myself,
mind of future entomologists, literally.
Yeah.
exactly. And even the ones who aren't, they're going to go home and my kids here now know more about ticks, know more about
Right.
mosquitoes, know more
Yep.
about pests.
All the different arboviruses. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm sure they
Yeah.
pass some of this on to their parents, and it just permeates out into the community. And it's just absolutely fantastic, as well as, building up the next generation, whether they're entomologists or not.
I love it.
Cool.
Thanks for sharing all that with us. Yeah, I actually, I decided I was going to become an entomologist in high school. So funny enough, you mentioned that. My teacher, my zoology teacher, kind of forced me into it. But we'll save that for another day. But yeah, Shell, I'm sure you have a lovely question for Ted.
I know. I just want to say I love how you say it permeates through. I mean, I love that visual of it, and you're totally right. I mean, that extension aspect of it. You educate one, especially the younger kids, and it does flow through, and I think that's so cool. But you are a BCE, so tell us when you got your BCE, what your process was like, how you came out of that. Tell us about the BCE experience for you.
Oh, mine is so old. I'm not sure it's particularly
It's
relevant
okay.
to your
It's
to your
okay.
listeners.
It's all.
It's
I got
okay.
mine in 2011.
That's when I got
mine.
mine.
Oh, hey, there you go. Okay, excellent.
That's
Yeah,
when I got mine too.
seriously. Yeah,
Ted,
the
we
old
got
piece
Ted.
of paper.
Old. He called us old,
If-
Adam.
Right, Ted. If you go back and listen to some of our
Fired.
other podcasts, we've got people that got it in the 1990s. I think we have one person that got it in the 80s, and they got the RPE, the Registered Professional Entomologist certification.
Very old
So,
school. See,
yeah.
I found the old. So I took the older version of the test, obviously, like you two did. So I had the old RPE study book I was using. I made flashcards. My flashcards were on Flashcard Exchange or something like that for the longest time, and people were using them. Then I converted them into a online test, and so for a while I was selling a BCE practice exam. And
There you go.
I certainly notice amongst some people at like Terminex and Orkin names that went through my roster, which is very cool to see. It's just like, oh wow, now that person is somebody who's very important. And
Right.
a handful of years ago, it was just another name on my roster. This is so cool. I studied quite a bit. Went back to my old notes from college. I am one of the few people who has 3 certifications.
What
I
are
actually
those?
just took 2 to start with, Urban and the Med Vet. And
Yeah.
I passed the Urban, I failed the Med Vet. And
Me
so
too.
then, you too? Okay, there you go. And then I went and took the Med Vet again. But since I was taking that, I was just like, one of my loves is toxicology. I just love poisons. I love talking about poisons. It's one of the things my students like about me. They sit down and they want to talk about poisons.
They're like,
And
don't mess
that
with
is
Ted.
so cool.
He will take you down.
Some of my students are very crafty, let me just say, and very ingenious, much smarter than I am. So I decided to take since I was sitting for the MedVet one again, I decided to sit for the Tox one. So I got both of those. I think I'm the last person to get the toxicology certification before it was dropped. So eventually I might be the very last one of a going extinct species of BCE, which is just going to be a very strange experience. I could have gotten it years ago. Back in grad school, me and my friends debated about whether or not we wanted to get it. Part of the debate was, and I remember this debate happening in a session that Chris with ESA ran back in Orlando, and I think Potter was there among some other people who was bringing up, what is an entomologist? what's the value of different certifications and degrees. And, that was the debate we had back in grad school, which was, is our degree enough or should we get the certification? And we went back and forth, and me and all of my cohort decided not to get the BCE. But we knew that if we got it soon after grad school, it would be a benefit, or rather, we'd have less studying to do, which is true. So yeah, I waited quite a number of years to get it, and then basically I had to go back through everything. Realistically, if you're going to get it, it's good to get it right after grad school. However, I would caution everybody to look very closely at the CEU requirements. That was actually the thing which stopped me for the longest time. As a technical director at Battsner, I was like, nobody's ever asked for it. It doesn't seem like it would give me any sort of advantage over our competitors. And we were primarily a commercial pest control company. We dealt with a lot of food service, manufacturing, pharmaceutical, that sort of thing. But I still never felt like I really needed it.
So real quick, Ted, just to kind of like pin on what you said, when it comes to the CEU requirements for everybody listening, you are required to have that degree in a biological science. If you don't have a degree in entomology, you need at least 4 credits in an entomology courses. And then you would also need those 3 years of verifiable experience in the industry.
And that's
for the BCE.
Yeah, and that's to get the BCE. The CEUs, as Ted said, you have to do a lot to keep up with this. And you're right. If you're in a position that you're like, I don't know if I can get all this, I don't think you want to take the test again. I don't know. Maybe you do. I mean,
definitely not.
No.
Yeah.
So
that was my limiting factor for the longest time.
Yeah.
So what made you eventually pull the plug and go okay, I'm doing this?
In many ways, the BCE was actually just like a colleague of mine down at Anderson in Chicago actually coined this, because he got it like a year or two before me. He said it's sort of like just an old Band-Aid. You just need to rip it off eventually. And so that's what it was. I kind of knew that I needed to get it eventually. I wanted to get it eventually. Realistically, I grew up in the pest control industry. My heroes were the entomologists at UCR and Purdue and places like that. My heroes were the BCEs, the folks I always saw in Pest Control Magazine and PCT. And so it was something that was basically on the bucket list. I knew I needed to get it. So I finally, as I was wondering what I wanted to do next in my career, as I was looking at the military, I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and just get this thing done. I would just caution everybody going down this route to make sure that you can do, you look at what you need to do for continuing education, and you are ready to take that on. Because I've known quite a number of BCEs actually who get it and then never renew. And they say, I was proud to get it, but it wasn't worth it for the continuing education.
It's not even that hard. Sorry, it's not even that hard to do the CEUs. If you're you can go to I think 2 or 3 conferences a year, and there's certain things. There's 2 different categories. There's category A and category B, and you have to qualify. So I think it's 72 hours in A, and then the other 48 hours in B, which I think makes the 120. So as long as you're getting those, and it's really not that hard. If you're in any type of pest control, role where you're a technical person, going to conferences, teaching courses, all that stuff, it's pretty easy. The big thing is keeping up with all of it, right? Managing all of that.
You need to be at a place where the people running the company are okay with having you out at conferences that much. And that was not the case for me. So I was actually not sure as a technical director that I would be able to easily get the CEUs. I was basically allowed to go to 1 conference a year. So you're right. If you can go to 2 or 3 conferences a year, it's easy. Or for myself, as a soldier, my annual training that I do each year for the reserves, that counts towards it. Yeah. So
and you can double dip too. So if you're going to a conference and you're teaching, those can qualify you for 2 different categories within your renewal.
Yeah.
And so you can double dip. I was actually on the committee to audit all of the whenever people would turn in their CEUs, I was auditing all those.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so like I would go in and check, and I would actually verify and be like, oh, did this conference exist? Oh, did this person go? I would email and say, can you give me a list of all the people that attended this conference? I need to verify this person actually went.
And that's the thing too, is that they do check. I think it's, Adam, is it like 10% a year that they'll pull to do a verification?
Like randomly audit.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
But
I mean, and that just goes to show, like, don't try to lie. I mean, if you're going to put something on there, at least feel like you can back it up at the end of the day.
Exactly.
But you can get credits for even reading all of the magazines you get from, like, ESA and all the different articles. You can get credits for reading articles. What a concept.
There are
Reading
so
is
many
what?
areas
Fundamental.
to get credits. Yes. There's so many opportunities to get credits on it. Yeah, it's, some of the people who have not renewed are friends of mine, and so I
Don't tell on them.
understand their situations. I understand their situations.
Yeah.
It does take getting out of the lab or the office or the field
Right.
long enough to do this, keeping track of it, paying the fees for it, and all that. But,
Yeah, but, like,
it's
so-
part of the commitment.
Yeah, my question, Ted, for you that I've been thinking about is, as a medical entomologist, I'm going to say medical and veterinary entomologist because that's what I went to school for. I loved it. My master's degree, I wrote a Florida Field Guide to bird lice. And so I really want to know for you, what is your favorite, I would say, insect in the medical veterinary entomology world?
It changes regularly because there's so many to choose from. I mean,
Good.
That is fair.
for a while it was Aedes aegypti, just because I saw them so seldom, and whenever I saw them and saw the harp on their thorax, it was just like, oh, yes,
Right.
you
Well, they're big
are
in
the
the
one
news
who
right
carries
now,
yellow
too.
fever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've been starting to deal with ticks more, and there's just something about them. I've got a Asian longhorn tick last year, and that was
Cool.
really cool to see. I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Although there is that mosquito down in, I think it's South America, that's like iridescent, and it has like leg
Yeah.
warmers. I forget its
Yeah,
name.
the like fuzzy.
The
Yeah.
plumose. We'll call them plumose, yeah. Because it's got, like the
Yeah.
plumose antennae. Yeah.
Oh, those are
Oh,
so
this
pretty.
is on its legs. This is on
Yeah,
its...
it's like this
Yeah.
fuzzy kind of like you said, iridescent, like blue color. It's so pretty. Yes.
It looks
Yes.
like a mosquito going into the snow, right? And they're wearing like their furry boots. To go,
Exactly.
like, in the
Yeah.
snow.
Exactly, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
So, Shell, what's your favorite med vet bug?
Oh my, like Ted, I mean, it kind of changes whatever I'm researching or that, but I gotta say, it's crab lice. I mean, because you
There's
don't
Pubis,
see
baby.
them. Because however, you
Those
don't
big
see them
claws.
exactly. Like if you look at the picture, they have these big, huge claws, and they're so cool looking. And when you think
They
of
are.
like the life cycle and everything, it's just a really cool insect. So, I mean that usually tops my list. Yeah.
Those are, I mean, lice are
choice.
really cool. Back when I was with Advanced IPM as their technical director, I actually got my first experience with body lice, which was crazy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like we actually had, I can't really name this facility, but it was a retail location that you might frequent. And they ended up having an infestation of body lice in their clothing department. Because a homeless, displaced people, had gone in and tried on clothes.
Yeah.
But they're huge. Body lice are big. Like people are like, you can't see them. I'm like, the hell you can't. You can see them very easily.
And that's the one that transmits trench fever, right?
I know
Okay.
that it transmits typhus.
All right, Ted's
But it could-
nodding, so
yeah.
I got this
I
one.
think so.
Okay.
I think so. It's been a while since I've delved into Napoleonic diseases.
Right?
For you folks listening, go look up trench fever. It's cool.
Yeah, or like Ted's saying, like the whole Napoleon thing. I mean, it was actually there was like a whole thing with body lice and like that war, and they were like transmitting scrub typhus. But I don't think it was necessarily used as a BCO, a biological control agent, a BCA. But I think it just kind of happened to be during that time. But yeah, that stuff is very interesting. I think my favorite medvet bug is Carnis hemapterus. It's a blood-sucking saprophagous ectoparasite that lives on the pileated woodpecker. And then it also basically is so smart that it times the hatching of the eclosion of the eggs to live on the pileated woodpecker in this nest one season, and then they stay and they live on the bird on an owl when the owl comes in and takes over the nest the following season.
That is so cool.
Oh, wow.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Is it a louse?
No. So look it up. Look up Carnis hemapterus. It's a little fly. It's a blood-sucking saprophagous ectoparasitic fly. And once it finds a suitable host, it clips off its wings to stay in the location because it doesn't need the wings anymore.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That might be actually my favorite vet pest. Would actually be the sheepkeds.
Oh,
Sheepkeds
yeah.
are just so amazing. The idea of a fly that looks like a tick that can basically
And they're
fly
big.
onto you.
Yes.
Yeah, as opposed to
Yeah.
a tick which you have to like brush up against where it's at for it to grab onto you. But this thing flies onto you or onto the sheep, loses its wings, and then feeds. Oh,
So these are all, that's
beautiful.
under hippoboscids, right?
Right.
Gotcha. The louse fly, for everybody listening, the louse flies.
And funny about that, like I write my blog and post my blog on Tuesdays. Today I wrote on the screwworm, the New World screwworm. So you know, we're just getting it all today. It's all on the same level. So
Well, this is probably one of my favorite podcasts so far just because I love medical and veterinary entomology. I love it.
It is pretty cool. So Ted, one more question on the BCE then. Like, how do you feel this has helped you in your career since you've gotten it?
So I gave a whole presentation on this at ESA last year.
Yes.
And I will sum it up in just a few words. I'll sum it up in three words. Not at all. My BCE really hasn't helped me out.
Okay.
You know, I've
fair.
seen. I would have commissioned in the Army as a medical entomologist, regardless. When I was a consultant, I did not see any. I didn't get any benefit from it. I think the two of you have had a little bit more success than I had, so I could see in your situations it being of benefit. And you know, as a high school teacher, I mean,
Right. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, for me, Ted, it's honestly been like paramount. Like, I honestly started my consulting business because somebody in California specifically went onto LinkedIn looking for a BCE. And they found me and they reached out to me, and it was honestly, the contract was larger than a teaching salary. You know what I mean? So, like, it's just been paramount for me to get it cut. And it's honestly been, for me, I've always wanted to have it. I feel like it kind of separates us, you know, like from other people as far as I feel like, how many people have entomology degrees out there but are not board certified entomologists? And the answer to everybody listening is I think we have around 433 board certified entomologists in the entire country. Right? And what does that mean? That means we need more people to take the exam to join this kind of like, you know, beautiful family of ours, because we're all nerdy entomologists. And again, for anybody listening, this is a platform for all of you, for future nerdy entomologists, to figure out maybe which path you want to take. And you can take Ted's path or mine and Shell's path or anybody else's path, but just join us, you know, to become a board certified entomologist.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point, Ted. You know, for you necessarily it may not have like had a specific help to it, but you know, and I've heard that from some other people too, and that's okay. You know, you took it, you had the experience of it. You know, maybe it didn't quite help you, or maybe it did, and you just, you know, it's kind of one of those underlying things that you may not have noticed, but that happens.
Yeah, and regardless, I'm proud of it. You know,
You
I think
should be.
certifications and licenses.
Three.
Right.
Exactly, and I think it's part of just being a professional, right? Is professionals have licenses and certifications. It shows your commitment to the industry, to the work, and almost every job I've done has involved a certification or license of some sort, and I feel it's the same way for entomology. So even though it's not been of benefit to me professionally, I'm proud of it, and you know it's benefit to me more psychologically, in that, you know, hey, you know, I did this, I am this, I'm part of this elite group, sort of like the Marines, the few, the proud, the BCEs.
Yeah.
So question, Ted, to your students, have you had any conversations with like potential future entomologists with your students?
Oh.
None of them that have said specifically that's what they're going to do, but
Okay.
I definitely see the seeds being planted and have
Mm.
kids who are just so excited about things like the Lone Star tick or
Okay.
Lyme disease, Powassan virus. I had a
Yeah.
kid really fascinated with the unusual, rare, deadly Powassan virus.
Right.
And he did some additional studies with it. And so you never know where these things are going to germinate, right?
100%. I mean,
Yeah.
all that stuff is super fascinating. So, what about even any potential students that might go into the pest control industry?
Mm.
Oh, potentially. Um, you know, that's the weird thing with kids, with especially teenagers. They always have to play it so cool,
Right.
and they don't really even like some of my ones who went on to join the army. They like hardly even talked with me about it. It was just like, wait a second, you're joining the military, and wait, you've been with
Right.
me all this year, and I find out is like the last thing on like the last week of our
Right. Like you
time
didn't
together
talk to
of
me
your
about
last
it.
week in high
What?
school. What?
Right.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah. So that's the way it is. You know, they've it's definitely, I have no doubt it's going to be things that they're going to be carrying with them for the rest of their lives with the level of excitement that they've gotten and what they're going to do with it. And this actually goes back to the whole question of what makes an entomologist. Uh, and do you really need a degree or a certification to be an entomologist? No, you don't. It sets you apart. It can help you out in that journey. But there's amateur entomologists who are just as much of entomologists as the rest of us. And I think some of them are going to go on in that direction at the very least. I think they've already started going on in that direction at the very least.
So, Ted, you bring up an interesting question. What makes an entomologist? Because I hear you talking about this like they're it's almost like you're saying they're all equal. And I'm not trying to get controversial here, but I'm like, I feel like we've all gone to school and we spent a lot of time, right, becoming an entomologist. So, I guess like to your point, and maybe Shell, it's a question for you. What defines Shell, you can take a break.
Uh-oh.
Oh
There
my
we go.
gosh, she's
Crash.
dropping everything.
Story of my life. I should have left up the problem child aspect of my login
Oh
here.
my God, I'm not taking this out of the podcast at all. This is
Oh, I
staying
know, I know.
completely.
I'm sorry, folks. I'm just a
Oh
disaster.
my
It's the
God.
story of my life. What can I say?
So Ted, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to say like I necessarily agree to disagree, but I do think that there is like kind of this whole like what makes an entomologist thing. Like, I think it's a fair question, and for anybody listening, maybe comment, below, comment on this, and let us know what you think an entomologist is. Just because I feel like there is a lot of necessary requirements. An entomologist is not to me just somebody who studies bugs. It's somebody to me who knows more about the bugs as far as like the physiology, the taxonomy. Like, there's all kinds of things, right? I mean, but to your point, if you go to a doctor, I mean, raise your hands if you've been to a doctor and they've said, "When's the last time you got your tetanus shot?"
Hmm.
Right? And I say to them, I'm like, "Well, awesome." I'm like, "I don't know," but they're like, "Do you want one?" And I'm like, "Well, why? Why do I need to have a tetanus shot?" And I'm not kidding you, Ted. There's doctors that can't even tell me what Clostridium tetani is, and that it's sister species to Clostridium botulinum, and literally that it's a natural soil-dwelling bacterium. And how do I get it? And I'm like, "You're a doctor and you can't tell me this shit? Like, WTF?"
Well, and I think to your point too, there's so many cool citizen science projects that are out there that let you get involved in entomology on so many different levels, whether you're like a 3-year old or a 80-year old, and that's super cool too.
Agreed.
Yeah, and then there's also a question of what about your job? If you have a job with the title of entomologist,
Yeah.
but you don't necessarily have the degree in entomology or the BCE, are you an entomologist? When I was in Japan, I worked with a medical entomologist. He'd worked in the field for decades, very knowledgeable. He was my taxonomist, and
Ooh.
he had a degree in business.
Yeah.
And
So then you're
and
saying you're saying he's a self-trained entomologist.
yes,
Okay.
and he had the job. Although on the other hand, he also always felt very sad and felt like he wasn't actually an entomologist.
Aw.
And it
Okay.
was just like wow. If I had, he was about ready to retire. If I had come across him earlier in his career, I would have tried to get him to take the BCE and to get that. I think they've changed the requirements. I think back then it was you could actually get it with just a bachelor's degree in any field, or I think there was actually there was a time back then when you could actually get it without any degree. You just needed more years of experience.
There actually was. That has changed by a lot. Thank goodness. And I'm like, I agree with you, Ted. I want people to feel inclusive, right? Because if you're an entomologist, we want everybody to listen. But I'm like, I think there is still the value in what the certification brings, to your role, possibly to
Definitely.
your role. Obviously for Ted, no, but for us, yes. And so I think there is value in actually getting the certification.
Absolutely, if it's the right thing for you, and it shows the commitment. It shows that level of knowledge, and it's just another way of proving that and of documenting it.
Yep, agreed. Cool beans. So, Shell, after your little escapade there, do you have any more questions for Ted?
I'm done. Cut me off.
She's like, I'm done. I'm ready to whine about it with a glass of wine.
You guys, you gotta understand, it's now 6:12 my time PM. So Adam's got plenty of time left in his day. Ted, you're in Wisconsin, but I've had a long day. That's my only excuse.
Girl, you're good. We love you. Thank you so much. Ted, do you have anything you want to leave everybody with, as far as what are your last words you want to leave everybody with?
Last words. Choose them carefully.
For this podcast. Just for this podcast. Ted's not going anywhere, folks. Just for the podcast.
Just a little bit of pressure here. Jeez. What I would say is don't be afraid to pursue that next opportunity and to try out something new and different. My career has been a bit different than a lot of folks because I've not just stayed in one company for years, but I've bounced around so much. And, I'm not going to be the person who gets the Pest Control Hall of Fame because of this, or going to be able to brag about being at one company for 30 years. But it's quite the journey. And I must say, I've gotten to do so many different fun, interesting things.
Yeah.
And impacted so many lives. Definitely think about what you can do with this, because there's so many opportunities within entomology and so many ones that you don't necessarily always hear about, such as being a military entomologist. Oh, a final last word. I probably should have said this at the beginning. And none of my views or the things I say represent the DoD, the U.S. government, or anybody else within that arena.
Thank you so much, Ted. I appreciate that, and I concur with Ted, folks. I'm like Ted. I haven't been in a role for more than 4 years, and I think the biggest thing that I can leave with anybody listening is to know your worth. We had a podcast last time with Nick, and knowing your worth from a young age is really important, and it'll take you a long way.
Yep.
So know your worth. All right, Shell, you got any last words for this podcast?
I'm count me out.
All right, awesome sauce. Well, everybody who came along, thank you so much for joining the BCE podcast, where there's no ifs, ands, or bugs about it. Again, I'm your host, Adam Holt, your co-host, Shell Hartz over here, and Ted Snyder, our special guest. So we all say goodbye. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
They're buggy, they're nerdy, they're talking 6 legs, buzzing on the airwaves with their field note pegs. From beetles to bees, they just can't get enough. Geeking out on bugs, yeah, the nerdy stuff. Not for fame, not for clout, just because they care. It's the Bugcast, boys and girls, science in the air.